Question is, what is vital energy? What is vital consciousness? We, in our human capacity, we tend to deal with things in a very low and fragmented order, whether it is intellectually, whether it is collectively, whether as a group, it really doesn't matter. But we operate at a very, very low level. Everything in our life is materially connected, ordered, related. Even if we have specialities in different subjects, those subjects are still different, they are related, and they are connected in some order. Everything fits into a certain space and time. We talk to Jeannie when there is an issue that has to do with our mental health conditions or whatever. We are happy to talk to Jeannie. Jeannie, what is your opinion? If I have a question about some kind of a health-related matter I'm still confused with, I will reach out to Rick and I ask him, okay, what do you think this kind of result in an exam came out? What is your opinion? What is your take on it? See, it is all a way of connecting disparities through some kind of a relationship, some in an order, in a very structured time and space mannerisms. See, even when we have problems, we try to approach the problems in the same order. See, but where is the problem coming from?
So from your mind, because the problem isn't outside, it's how you react to it and what you're going to do about it.
Yeah. So, but our mind is striving to operate on a low level order. But you see, the problems are coming from an unmanifest part of our mind. We are making it so manifest. The creation is always a process of the unmanifest becoming manifest. That is what a creation is. So, this spectacular ability we have in our mind, that there is that unmanifest part of our mind that can generate issues, that can generate problems, that can generate all kinds of things for us to observe. But what do? We observe in a manifested order.
Don't we have to in order to come up with a solution?
Well, we need to recognize what the unmanifest component of it, isn't it? Without recognizing what the unmanifest component of the issue that we are dealing with, how can we possibly come up with manifested solutions?
Okay. Now,
You see what I mean?
yeah. That's looking at it differently.
Yeah. So in other words, we need to be able to look at how the message is coming to us from an unmanifest part of our brain or part of our mind, and that is creating all this chaos that is affecting our body, that is affecting our mind, that is affecting our actions, that is affecting our deeds, that is affecting our thoughts. How is all of this happening? So, if we were to answer that question does not begin from a manifested order. The question has to come from an unmanifested order. For in order for us to kind of understand what the unmanifest order is communicating to us, we need to observe and find out what the message is. So instead of quickly just getting in gear to find out what the answer is, just sit back, relax, observe. What is that message? Where is it coming from? Then try to figure out why, how, what is the anatomy of it, how do you want to solve it. If you understand the anatomy of it, then you have a solution. So how it is all being put together, you will only discern that when you observe it, not when you're quickly looking for an answer. You see? So the way of looking at it is connecting your vital energy with the unmanifest, because your vital energy is unmanifest, it's not manifest. Your vital consciousness is not a manifest part of your being, it's an unmanifest part of your being. So you approach what is unmanifest with your vital consciousness, with your vital energy, and just purely observe. Purely observe. And when you observe what is happening to you,
Yeah.
then you can see the anatomy of it. Because God also creates the same way. God is unmanifest himself. You see? And it's within that unmanifest, a manifest is evolving. And that manifest becomes the creation. So don't think that there is no manifested order in an unmanifest. There definitely is an unmanifested, there definitely is a manifested order when you observe the unmanifest. God created the universe, unmanifest, putting that order together and making that order into a manifest. See, there are three stages of creation: unmanifest, and the manifested order that is still not manifested, just the order itself, and then the order becomes the manifest. That's how all of us are created.
So when the disciples' eyes were suddenly opened, were they seeing in this unmanifested?
Yeah, in other words, that's exactly what happens. You see, when your eyes are open, which means you are consciously aware of what the unmanifest is putting together. So the unmanifest continues on with his creation. When we look at things as God created the universe in 6 days and the seventh day he went into retirement and he is still in the retirement, everything is wrong. God is continuously creating. How he is creating is the thing that we need to find out. See, when we have a problem, there are two ways you can approach it. One is, okay, is this actually coming from your own karma, own deeds, on that, on this? Am I the sole factor and the originator of this problem? That's one way of dealing with it. The other way of dealing with this is the good Lord trying to teach me a lesson by way of this trial. Okay? So here you are talking about an unmanifest, trying to teach you something that is manifested. Am I
I
right?
have to look at it backwards. I have to go somewhere in the middle. There is the unmanifested order before I even get to the unmanifest.
Exactly. Exactly. In other words, the manifested order that is not yet evolved, that is not yet fully created. Look at it at that point. When you look at that point, you can do a number of things. You see, you can become incredibly innovative. You really can become very, very creative. See, because you are looking at what God is doing before the actual creation has not taken place.
That's like a blank canvas.
Exactly.
You can turn that, tweak it a little bit, make it anything you want before it's finished.
Yeah.
See, before the actual manifest comes into fruition, you are observing it, the order of the Creator Himself. See, so when you are looking at the problems that you're having in your life, approach it as it's the good Lord is trying to teach you something new. Thank you, Lord. All right, just get back, sit down, observe what He is trying to teach you. The more you observe it, you're going to see the whole framework of His creation before it is being created. Now that you have seen it, you are the master of the creation. Now you can become a creative partner with God.
And do something about it.
Exactly. You also have the image and likeness of God. You have the mind of God according to Jesus. You have the mind of God according to Jesus. Think with the mind of God instead of the mind of a human being. And Jesus calls whoever thinks with the mind of a human being as Satan. See? Because Jesus said the same thing to Peter, Satan, stop right where you are. When Jesus calls Peter Satan, what does exactly Satan means?
Evil.
Yeah, that's
Now,
an,
Peter's not a real evil person,
yeah,
but what he was thinking.
See, I mean that is not exactly the mystery of Satan. When you look at Satan as a mystery, what is he all about? You see, he is the one who introduced human intelligence to humanity.
Back in Adam and Eve.
Yeah. Exactly. He brought them down so that all of us can have that fragmented, ordered, structured intelligence.
That's a
See,
blessing and a curse.
That is, whether it's a blessing or not, yeah, we survived all these years because there is a blessing. But you see, we continually kept on creating things that are perishable. That is the other side of it. See, no matter what we did, no matter what we do, they are materially put together and they are perishable.
Even the human body. See, originally we weren't. We were going to live forever in paradise.
Exactly.
Now we all die.
See?
Because of Satan.
Well, yeah. See, because we as a spirit, we are imperishable. You see, but he introduced the concept, no, you are a matter. Isn't it? So you as a matter, you are perishable. Also, the perishability is not introduced by God. Perishability is introduced by Satan. So when Jesus says to Peter, Satan, you are not thinking like God. You are thinking like human being. What he means is, start thinking like human being because you are capable of thinking like human being. You are also put together in the image and likeness of God. Never forget that. That's the message of Jesus. See, even though he died and he restored us to the mind of God, we are still at the at the fragmented order of doing things.
But we have that ability to change.
We have everything to change, yeah. See, we have the ability to create if you know what God is creating. That is exactly what Jesus says. I see what the Father is doing. I do likewise. Didn't he say that?
Yeah.
See, if I can observe and see the creation in process, then I am part of the creative process, am I not?
Sure.
See, with this kind of a mindset, with this kind of an energy and consciousness, tell me something you cannot do.
Nothing. We can do everything.
Exactly. See, with the power of the Holy Spirit, we will know everything. And with the observation of the creative process, we can become part of the creation, the creative process itself. We can innovate, we can make spectacular decisions, we can build systems, we can come up with beautiful creations, whether in arts or science or whatever it is. We can. We can. And such decisions, in partnership with God, it just came from the imperishable, therefore it remains imperishable. Another Bible phrase. Whatever comes from imperishable will remain imperishable. Whatever comes from perishable will perish. See, so the challenge in hand, what we have, we need to transcend these material orders and structures and disconnects and putting things together and all of that. It's impossible. That's what we are doing. And we are trying to do something that is only a temporary fix. It's not a permanent fix. In other words, we are trying to handle exceptions. See, whenever there is an exception, Jeannie, I have this exception, but this is how I feel. So Jeannie would help me manage an exception. Anthony, this is how I feel. Need your help. Okay, so Anthony can help you manage an exception. See, our life is always about exception handling. Is that why we are created, to handle exceptions? Or are we created to be a creative partner with God?
Creative partner.
With God in everything we do. That's our mission in life. Does that make sense?
It does. We should look at life a lot differently.
Yeah?
A creative partnership.
Creative partnership. Otherwise, we are simply exception handlers, that's all. Everything we do is some way of handling exception.
No wonder why there's so many unhappy people. They feel like they have nothing to do with what's going on. And we all have that ability to do that.
Yeah, because we are selling ourselves short. We lived an unfulfilled life for generations. It's an unfulfilled life for us. It's an unfulfilled life for God. The purpose for what He created us, it's not there. It hasn't happened. But God is so faithful, He keeps on creating us. He keeps on creating us. He hopes one of these days the death of Jesus is going to turn out to be a success. One of these days, God is going to say to Himself, finally, I've done it.
It's happening. Yeah.
See? And that is, see,
Does that make God happy?
yeah. Don't you want to make Him happy?
makes-
Oh, it's
yeah.
remember last week?
Yeah.
That was supposed to go. Pray that God will be happy.
Yeah.
It makes me happy just thinking about it. See? I can make small changes. Be creative.
Our mission strives to spread love and light to every corner. But to truly make a difference, we need your consideration. We're not asking for your donations. Instead, we invite you to subscribe to our mission. Simply hit that subscribe button, click the like, and ring the bell button to support. Every interaction counts. Every subscription, every like, every comment helps us with the mission. Together, we can make a difference. Subscribe now and be a part. Thank you so very much.